welcome. This is Dragon 6 Golf. So, you'll see I have a video up on screen. It's with Jocko and Echo Charles. They have a podcast. They put out a video about once a week or so. I've had a chance to listen to just about all of them, and the thing I like about these videos is it's not about him, it's not about Echo. It's about the people that are listening, and it's also about the people he brings on. He does a lot of research. He reads books that these people have written. He reads stories that they're in, watches videos. So he's very informed on the person he knows is coming in. And even better is when he brings somebody on that he's served with, either with the SEALs or National Guard units or active duty units he's worked for or with. But I came across this video. It came out today, and it features Micah Fink. And Micah Fink has a story to tell. His childhood wasn't great. He didn't have the best role models, but I think he was in his 20s, or I know he was an adult, but he was basically at ground zero. September 11th hit, and without any skills, without any training, he wasn't in the military yet. He went in and just to see what he could do. He was there for a day or two, maybe 3. And after this happened, he had said that a friend of his asked, what is he going to do? And he says, I'm going to find the people that did this and kill them. So, like a true patriot, he went to the recruiters. He went to Army Recruiter. I think he was talking about being a ranger. But eventually, a Navy recruiter talked to him and showed him the SEALs, which, much respect to all the service, but SEALs is, it's up there. It's top dog. And anyway, he joins. He makes it through. He goes through all his times in service. He gets out, and he becomes a contractor for CIA. And I haven't been through the whole video yet, but this guy really cares about his buddies in arms, his brothers and sisters in arms, because he's been through the pain. He's had depressive thoughts. He's had things happen in his life. We realize he's not at war for the government. He's at war for his nation. He's at war for the people next to him. So I'm going to play this little snippet from Jocko Willink's podcast number 318. Check it out. This is at 1 hour, 28 minutes. It's a short part, but he spits out some statistics off top of his head because, he deals with veterans. And I understand where he's coming from because I didn't go through all the exact type of combat he went through. I wasn't on the ground. I was a tanker, so I saw stuff, did stuff, but nothing at his level. And I have friends that, been through more than I have, and I have my issues. I had my issues, and I'm still working on them. Which brings me to my videos today that I'm doing is really putting myself out there so that way I can reach a veteran or two. I don't care if I reach 1 or 1 million. I hope I reach them all. But we're such a small population as a nation, and really we're feeling thankless. Like we feel like we came back and everybody's just moved on and we're just stuck in this rut. So let's watch a piece of this video.
And so, it was
The team of guys that you're talking about are not Americans?
Yeah, not Americans. Yeah. And people can say what they want about those guys, and I wouldn't say I trusted all of them, but you really develop a relationship. You rely on these guys, and,
So he's talking about some Afghanistans he worked with that decided to help out U.S. forces, and they found their way here from Afghanistan to the U.S., and they're in a place that he can't talk about, but they're here in the U.S., and a couple have found him.
Watching Afghanistan fall, and it was hard. It was hard. Matter of fact, I met some of the guys recently that got out of the country last month. they reached out to me, and they're here somewhere living in the refugee camp basically, and they were telling me about what happened to a bunch of our guys. I mean, held against the walls, shish kebab spears stuff through their hearts. I mean, like brutally killed. So it was tough. I had a good relationship with those guys. So some of them are here in the States actually. Funny enough, like one of them, like I don't know, we don't use our names, but one of the guys somehow like found me and like reached out to like my secretary. Like I was like, my name is like so and so Muhammad, like I'm looking for Micah, and they sent it to me. I'm like, take everything off the internet, like, it's like yeah,
That's bizarre.
it is bizarre. And he, it was I sat down for matter of fact, what happened was I won't say where I was, but I was in a state for work a month ago. My plane gets canceled. So I'm like kind of wandering around like, oh my God, I gotta like get another hotel and do all this stuff. I walk into the parking garage and I hear somebody calling me by my call sign. Of course, like my spidey senses like just perk up. There's not a lot of people that know that. And I like turn and look, and it's two of my guys, like where I was the team leader of that place for 3 deployments. And he's like, I'm like what's happening right now? So I ended up like going back to their house with them and having dinner at this, which is like, it's a wicked refugee camp. I just ran into him at the airport. All right. So I sit down, and when we go off, I'll show you some pictures of me with him. But yeah, they started telling me like what happened to all these guys. I mean, dude, it's like, man, that guy's all he's ever done since he was 20 years old was work for the Americans. I mean, his family's been killed, their houses burned down, people have been beheaded. I mean, they've been tortured. I mean, it's rough. Yeah.
The amount of people that worked with America in Afghanistan is like a massive number. It's a massive number to think like, oh, well, there's only a small amount of people that are going to bear the burden. It's like there's a massive number of people that work with Americans.
Well, if you look at, kind of in my work with my foundation, if you look at the number of people that have served in the war, Americans, right? 2.7 million Americans served in the global war on terrorism, 20 years, right? So 7,000 died in the war over 20 years. 1,500 are amputated, so that's 0.00026%. 0.0056% are those who have died, right? And then you look at the fallout, though, from the war. So we look at those hard numbers, right? But we don't look at the cost of it. And you look at only 4.5% of them are American veterans attempting to start businesses or be entrepreneurs. There's 50,000 nonprofits in North America. 2 in 6 vets are on psychiatric medications, and between 2005 and the end of 2020, 155,000 guys have killed themselves. So people say, well, some of those guys were other vets or whatever, that didn't serve in there, or they were Vietnam vets, or it doesn't matter. Like that's a huge number. That's every 64 minutes. And so we look at those numbers and the fallout on American culture. And then you got to look at the fallout on the host nation.
Some hard numbers there. So, a veteran dies by suicide every 64 minutes. Think about that. It's 1 hour, pretty much. We're losing more to this than we did in the 20 years we were in a global war on terrorism. 20 years is a long time to be in a constant state of war. Let me put this into perspective for y'all. My son, who's exactly 20 years younger than me, went to Afghanistan. So he served in a global war on terrorism. I served in a global war on terrorism. I couldn't fathom my dad being a Vietnam veteran as a kid, hearing about that, growing up and going to Vietnam. That's just crazy. So how do veterans feel? I can't speak for all of them. I'll speak for myself. I really feel like the people in charge of us, which we can say are politicians, they have no problem putting people like us in harm's way. But when we come back, we're forgotten. We're less than. They complain that they give too much money to the VA. They complain that we're asking for additional services. The VA has the largest medical system in the US, but it has the poorest customer service. I've been through the VA. I've felt like they turn you down. I feel sorry for anybody who feels suicidal, because I wouldn't call the VA for that. How could you trust the VA? Just some thoughts out there. If you're feeling a certain kind of way, I'm willing to talk to you. Send me a message. We'll do a Zoom. We'll talk on the phone, whatever. But people, let's wake up. Your freedoms are on the back of our shoulders. I don't care what anybody says. Afghanistan has opioids. Iraq has oil. Let's think about it, people. Our economy. Is it dependent on us? I don't know. Jocko, don't take this video down, man. Please let it ride. All right. Well, thanks y'all so much for watching. Dragon 6 Golf out.